Hello and thank you for coming to my video today, guys. It is the long-awaited stake pool operator series. What I'm going to do in these videos is show you guys how to get your pool up and running, show you some node configuration while also teaching you the basics about Linux, about Google Cloud, and just giving you everything that you need to get started. But most importantly, what I'm trying to teach you guys is how to use the documentation and how to learn, how to fix your problems, because that's what's most important. Obviously, you guys can just copy my commands and follow exactly along with what I'm doing, but you need to build the knowledge on how to solve your problems because you're going to run into some. And then also, I have a Discord server that you guys can join for help with this. And then also, I would really appreciate it if you guys liked this video, subscribed, and then shared it. It would really help me out. And then also, if you followed my Twitter at big_pay, I post a lot of information on there and updates, etc. And then also, if you guys want to help me out and delegate to my pool, it's at PayADA. The reason we're only at 7.44% right now is because we were at 14 to 15% for a couple weeks. So eventually the algorithm does have to catch up with you. And the reason I'm asking for this is because YouTube doesn't pay me for anything. But like I said, my passion is to further decentralize Cardano. So it's okay if I make no money. But also I do accept donations in BAT and in Cardano. But that's it. And then there's also going to be some more jump cuts in this video because I want to be concise in what I say. And then I also want it to go quick. So I'm sorry for the length of this video if it does end up stretching out long, but I want to give you guys all of the information you need. And then feel free to comment on any questions you have down below, or just comment thanks. The more comments you guys put, the better for my video, because I really am trying to get my YouTube channel monetized so I can spend more time making these videos. But let's jump right into it. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is generate some SSH keys. I'm going to first do this in Ubuntu, and then I'm also going to do this in Windows right after this jump cut. If you don't want to do this, you can actually just skip this portion of the video, but I highly recommend it. It just helps with the latency. So if you're in a fresh thing of Ubuntu, like I said, we'll skip to Windows right after this. But what you want to do is you're going to make a directory, which means mkdir, and then we'll call it Cardano. And then after we do that, we can just cd to that directory. So we can do cd Cordano, and then ls shows what's in there. So you can make another directory called ssh. That's what I would recommend. But I already made that, so we're going to go to cd ssh-yt, and then we're going to do ssh, and then I think it's ssh, it's dash keygen. And then now that we've done that, it says enter the file. So we'll call this just big pay. You can call it whatever you'd like. And then you can either empty it, but I'm going to go ahead and type in a passphrase just in case. And then enter the same passphrase again. There we go. So then we can type ls again. And then you see that we have our private key and our public key. And that's all we need for now. And then we're going to use this later on when we're creating our server. Okay, so for the Windows portion of this video, all you guys need to do is open this, search PowerShell, and then you need to make a directory. So we'll call it ssh-peso, and then I gotta type in mkdir ssh-peso. I got a little ahead of myself there. And then we cd there. And then once we're cd'd in there, we do the same thing. We do ssh-keygen. And then it takes you through the same process. Name the file and call it BigPay. Enter a passphrase. Enter the same passphrase again. It failed because I entered the passphrase is too short, but that doesn't matter because I'm not actually going to use this. To actually join the server with the thing you just made, you do SSH and then the username that you just made with the SSH thing, and then at the public IP. So it'll just say it's 1.1.1. And then -i, and then the folder that it's in. So say we actually made it called BigPay. That's how you'll connect to it using PowerShell in Windows. So yep, quick Windows tutorial. Okay, so now is when we're actually going to get the server part of this set up. So we're going to go to cloud.google.com. The reason we're using Google Cloud is not because it's cheap. It's actually pretty expensive. But they offer a free $300 credit. And that's pretty good because we're just on the test net. We're just trying things out. And you guys want to see if this is actually what you want to do, if you want to maintain this. And a $300 credit's a very good amount of money to get you guys learning and to get you prepared for mainnet. I'll have in a video the best instance, or not the best instance, but the best server host to use later on. But for now, we're just going to be using Google Cloud. So what you want to do when you're there is you want to go to the navigation menu, compute engine, and then VM instances. Once you're here, you want to get rid of that stupid Brave Av and then click create instance. So once you're in the new instance, you can just go ahead and name it whatever you want. I'm just going to call it, we'll call it HN-testnet-YT for YouTube. And then you can select whatever one you want. Just for the sake of this video, I'm going to do Iowa because it's real cheap, and then it doesn't matter which one you use here. And then for this, you're going to want to go to N1, and then we'll do custom, and then we're going to do 2 cores, and then 5 gigabytes. So what's cool about this is you can change this at any time, so this might not be the recommended in the future, but that's what we're going to use right now just for the test net. You can change this at any time based on if you need more or you need less. And then the next thing that you're going to want to do is go down to boot disk, and you're going to want to change this. So we're not going to use Debian, we're actually going to use Ubuntu, and then 20.04 LTS Ubuntu, and then we're going to want to switch to an SSD, and then we'll go ahead and give us 50 gigabytes. I'm sure you could optimize this more and use less, but 50 is just enough for me. Okay, so then once we have that, we're going to want to go down here, click this, and then automatic restart, we're going to want to turn that off. And then this is where we're going to go to security, and then we're going to put in that SSH key we generated earlier. So let me go ahead and pull that up. Oop, I accidentally have my private key shown over here, so I need to hide that. Okay, so I'm also in that Windows video, I already showed you guys how to do this. You're just going to copy that whole public key, but for Linux, you want to do ls cat bigpay.pub or whatever you named yours. So we just copy that whole thing, and then we paste it in there. And then if it works, it should say that right there. And then, so that's pretty much it. So then we can click create instance. And then remember, if anything's off in here, we can just go back and change it at any time. Click create. And we got to wait for that to create, and then we're going to do some IP changes. It usually just takes a couple seconds. That's why I'm not going to jump cut the video. There it is. So if you guys didn't want to do the SSH thing, as I mentioned earlier, all you have to do is click this and it'll pull you into the instance. But what we're going to do is actually SSH into it because it improves latency. But before we do that, we're going to want to click this. We're going to want to go to View Network Details. And then we're going to go to External IP Addresses. And then this new one we created right here, it'll say ephemeral. And then we're going to change that to static. And then we can name it, so I'm going to name it exactly what I named the server, so hn-testnet-youtube. And then we can reserve it. So the reason you're changing this is because the ephemeral pretty much means dynamic. It means your IP is changing all the time, so you want static. And then for firewall settings, we're going to want to go to default, allow, and then we're going to want to go to RDP. And then you're going to want to click edit, and then you're going to want to add some ports. If you want to follow along with the video, just add 3001 and 3002. To add them, all you do is put a comma and then the number you're adding, and then click save. And then we're going to go back out of this and back to our server. And then like I said, if you guys just want to not use the latency-free SSH, all you got to do is click this. And then we're going to go to the next part of the video. Okay, so now we're in the next portion of the video, and then we have our Linux environment up right here. If you clicked SSH, I'm going to bring that over and show you what I mean. If you clicked SSH right here, that's what this is. You're finally in your Ubuntu environment. But we're not going to use this. We're going to use the SSH route, but it's going to be the exact same thing if you use this. It's just going to have less latency. So I'm going to go ahead and close this, leave, and then what we need to do is we're going to copy this external IP address. And this is for people that are using the SSH. So we're going to copy that from there, and then come down here, and then we're going to type in SSH and then big pay, or whatever you want your, or whatever it's called, and then at the IP that you copied. And then we need to do -I, and then the public or the private key that you have. So mine's called big pay. And then it says, are you sure you want to continue? Yes. Enter the passphrase key if you set one. And then now we're connected. So this is going to be the same thing that you guys are using, but I need to make this bigger so you guys are able to see it. Let me figure out how to do that for you. I'm going to zoom it even again. Okay. So now that we're in here, I'm going to teach you guys some basic Linux commands. If you already know these, I'm sorry, but they are important. So the first one is ls. That shows you all of the directories they're in. So I guess the first thing that we should do is make a directory so you guys can see those. So we'll make a directory called downloads, and then we'll make a directory called pool. So then when we type ls again, you can see that. And then you can also, another command that you need to know is ls-a. This shows hidden directories, because we're going to be using these later on. Okay, so now that we have that downloads folder set up, we're going to start getting our Ubuntu instance set up. So the guide I'm going to be using to copy all these commands in is, I'm going to have it, it's going to be the first link in the description down below. It's made by IOHK. It's Cardano tutorials on GitHub. So I would have this pulled up on your second monitor if you have one, so you can copy these in, because no one wants to type these out. But that's what we're doing. We're just getting our environment set up, and then once we have our environment set up is when we can actually start making the node. So the first thing I'm going to copy in is sudo apt-get update y. And none of these really take that long. That's why I'm not doing any jump cuts. The one that I am definitely going to do a jump cut on is Cabal, the Cabal where you install Cordano node and Cordano CLI. But I'm going to give you guys more information on that later. So now copy the next command in. It's the next one in the line. But when you're following this guide, make sure you use for Debian and Ubuntu, and not for the Amazon Web Service. And just kind of make sure that the line that you guys are typing in is the same that I am typing in. Like I said, sorry for no jump cut on this one. It's just short enough for me not actually want to do it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is download and unpack Cabal. So this is another command that I'm going to introduce that's really important. It's called wget. So when you type in wget, it just lets you download something from any link that you type in. So, but we're going to do this in the downloads folder just to be nice. So remember, ls shows you the folders, and we'll do cd downloads. And then look, there's nothing in here because we just made the folder. So now we're going to type in that first command under the we download, unpack, and install and update Cabal from the Cardano tutorials. And we're going to do Control-Shift and V to paste that in there. If you guys are in Ubuntu, just Control-V if you guys are in Windows. And then we're going to download that. So now we type in ls to see that that's in there. And then now we just need to copy the next command. This is a pretty important command. Sorry about the race car drivers around here. They really get going sometimes. So this next command, it's really important. It's tar-xf. It's like zip. It's like unzipping files, or WinRAR if you've ever used that on Windows. It's really important, so just make sure you guys remember this one. So then you can see the two things right there. So you see Cabal that we have right there. And then this is still the tar file. So we need to remove these two folders. And this is another command I'm going to introduce. It's going to be rm. And then you can just type in the things you want to remove. And then another one is rm-r. And this specifically lets you remove directories. And that's really important because rm will not let you just remove regular directories. So we're just going to copy and paste the next command where they're just using rm like I mentioned earlier, just to remove both of those directories, because I don't want to type them out, and neither do you. So we type ls again to see they're both gone. And then we're going to make a new directory. So this is an important concept. Make sure you guys listen to this. You might want to listen to it again if you don't understand what I'm saying. So you're going to have something in Linux called your path. Your path is something that you can use to reference like a certain executive file anywhere. So something that we're going to be using a lot today is called Cardano node. And Cardano node and Cardano CLI has a lot of commands you can type in. So we can type in like Cardano CLI, like just Shelly. There's commands, and you want to be able to reference that anywhere. So normally, if you have Cardano node in your ls, you type in ls, and you have Cardano node in here, you can reference Cardano node while you're in this folder. But that's annoying because you want to do it anywhere. Because say you want to make keys and addresses and just note like anything, you want to make it in different files. You need to add this to the thing called path. And path lets you reference the executive files in any folder that you're in. It's very important. And we're actually going to make Cabal be able to be referenced anywhere as well. So what we're going to do is do mkdir, so that means make directory -p. And then I'm pretty sure the -p makes it one of those hidden folders that I showed you earlier. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 90% sure. And then /bin. So you're making a hidden folder in local bin. And then you're going to want to move Cabal. So MV, this is how you move folders, Cabal, and then that folder that you just made. So then another thing I need to mention to you guys, and I'm sorry for iterating on all the basic Linux, but my goal is decentralization, so I do need to touch on it. The little squiggly line, that is how you reference folders in your home directory. So you see the little squiggly line here. I'll explain that more in a second. So .local and then /bin, and we're going to do another slash so we move it in that bin. Okay, so then we can ls, look, so nothing's here. So then to touch on that little squiggly line more, anything in this directory is going to have a squiggly. So it's really important because we're going to be referencing a lot of things in our pool file, or if we make another directory called keys. I usually keep capital letter for anything in my home directory, but you can reference anything here. So say we want to reference a file, we can go to say that we had a keys file in pool. Anywhere you are, you can do squiggly line, pool, and then if you have something in there called keys, and then something in there called makeshift, you can just CD right to that folder because you use that squiggly line in the beginning. It's really important. So make sure you guys listen to the video if you don't understand what I just said. And then now we're going to go to the next part. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now, remember how I mentioned that path thing earlier? We need to make sure that Linux actually knows that that's our path. So what we're going to do is do nano, and then we're going to reference that home folder with the little squiggly line, and then we're going to go to a hidden file. So we're going to go to bashrc, and then I need to explain what nano is. Nano is a way to edit text files in Linux. And Ubuntu already has it installed. So once you click this, you're here, and then what we're doing is we're going to add something all the way to the bottom. So you want to use the down arrow key and then go all the way to the bottom. And then once you're here, you're going to want to type in, let me do this real quick. So it's going to be export path, and then I'm just going to copy this. So if you're following that guide that I'm using, it's going to be right below the nano squiggly line bashrc. It's going to say add export path. So you just want to come down here and you're going to want to copy that, and then you're going to want to paste that in here. So it's going to look just like this. So export path, and then so to save in here, you're going to want to hold Control and then press Control and X, and then it's going to say save modified buffer, yes, and then it's going to say file right to this, enter. That's it. Well done. So then now we're going to have to type in source. I spelled source wrong. And then we're going to type in, I'm pretty sure we just referenced that folder. Yep, so then we're going to do the squiggly line .bashrc. Make sure I type that in right. Yep, looks good. So then now that we're done with that, so remember how I said that we can reference it anywhere now? So what we did earlier is we added Cabal to our path, and we can go ahead and check that real quick. So we'll do ls-a, cd dot local cd bin ls. Look who it is, our boy Cabal. So then we can do cd squiggly line to take us back to our home. Thank you for whoever told me that. I don't know why I didn't know that. And then now we can type in Cabal update. So all this is doing is updating Cabal, and then Cabal is Haskell. I think it's the compiler for Haskell. So I'm gonna go ahead and make another cut right here just in case this does take a while. Okay, so now we can check to make sure that all worked. We can do Cabal -- version 3.2.0.0. So it should be the same or higher if you're doing this at the time of this video. Okay, so then now we're going to install GHC. So I think that actually might be the compiler for Cabal. So I'm sorry for Haskell. So I'm sorry if I gave you some misinformation earlier. Don't listen to everything I say. I'm just teaching you guys how to get your node up and running. So we're going to cd into the downloads folder, and then we're going to use that wget command that's really important. Perhaps one of the best commands in existence, and then we're going to download the GHC. So control copy. And feel free to correct me on my comments about what GHC is. It might even be a different compiler. But either way, it doesn't matter. We're still getting our node up and running. So we need to use that tar command again to unpack that tar file. And this is a big file, so it is going to take a second. And then we're going to, after that, we're going to want to copy that and then remove the actual tar file again. If it's doing this, that means it's just taking a minute. It's just a big file that it does take a second sometimes. Okay, now that we got that done, we need to remove that tar file as I just said. And then we're going to want to type in ls to see if we got that working. So then we're going to go GHC-8.6.5. And then we can type in ls again. And then we can see we got everything in here. We're going to type in ./configure. And then we can type in sudo make install. Before we enter that, sudo is like using admin permissions in Windows. You want to be careful with it, but if you're following a guide, it's okay to use sudo. Again, this one's just short enough to actually make a jump cut. And then after this, we're actually going to veer off from the IOHK guide because I think a little bit of it is unnecessary. But we still gotta wait for this to finish up. Okay, maybe this is long enough to do the cut, but I know as soon as I end it, it's gonna finish. Yep, exactly. Sorry about my dog shaking in there. Hey, you don't need to itch right now, man. Okay, so we need to do, because the next thing we need to do is git clone and then the repository for Cordano node. Git clone is a command for git. It's really important. Okay, so then we're gonna do cd ... That takes us back to the downloads folder, and then we're gonna clone that repository in here. So we can type in ls. So we have Cordano node now. We can do cd Cordano node. See, we got everything in here. So then now we're going to use something. This is really important. You guys are going to have to learn this. You're going to do git fetch --all --tags. So git is a way for programmers to be working on different versions at different times. So what you're doing is you're fetching all of those different versions, all those different branches. So then we're going to do git checkout tags dash or /1.13.0. This may change. It may be .14, it may be .15. You're going to want to look at the guide for what it is. For like not my guide, but the guide I have linked down below, because that'll stay constantly updated. So then it'll say, now switching to that, we're good to go. Okay, so then now we're going to install Cardano node and Cordano CLI. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to type in Cabal install Cardano node and then Cordano-CLI, and then this is going to take a while. The next time you build it, it's not going to take near as long. Okay, so while that's still going, because it's taking forever, as it always does, it's not going to take as long the next time, but we're going to work on some more stuff. So if you're doing the SSH thing again, from the cloud, you can just click SSH right here, and it'll open up another instance. But we like that low latency, so we're going to pull up another command line, and we're just going to do Control-Alt-T. That'll bring up another one, and then we're going to connect to that again. So or maybe it'll just let me go up. Well, does it remember it? Nope, it doesn't. So we're going to do SSH and then BigPay at our IP address that we have to copy, our external IP from Google Cloud. And then we're going to do -I and then the file. But I did forget to go to the right file, so we're going to do cd Cardano cd ssh-yt, and then we're going to type in that command again. You can always just press up on the keypad to bring it back up, and then I have the file set as BigPay. So then we got to enter the passphrase. Okay, so we're back. So what's cool is we can do other stuff on this instance while that one is still going. And then what we're going to do is, remember how we made that thing called pool earlier? So we're going to cd to pool. Then we're going to make two more directories. We're going to make a directory called node, and then make another directory called relay. So this portion of the video is just going to be basic setup, so we can get both of them running, both of them connected to each other. A relay so a node and a relay, they're both nodes. They're both copies of the blockchain, but the difference is the node is only going to be connected to the relays that you have. So the relays are going to act as kind of a shield for your block producing node. The nodes are only going to connect, so there's this thing called a topology file, which we're about to download. And the topology file in the node only connects to the relays, but the relays connect to the rest of the network. More on that later. So we can type in ls to make sure we have both those files. And then first we're going to go to the relay. And then now that we're in the relay, we need to go to that IOHK guide, and this is where we're veering off the path. So once you guys get used to Git, you'll start to realize this, but what we're going to do is we're going to click this and go open a new tab, because we still do need to work on a couple more things in here, change our settings around a little bit. But instead of doing that, we're going to work on something else while that Cabal build all is still going. So then we're going to go to starting the node and connecting to the testnet. And this is where we get our wget file. So there's three things you need to start a node: topology.json, genesis.json, and config.json. And that's what these wget files are right here. So we're going to copy those all over, and then the relay and the node can both use the same config file, and that's what we're going to be doing for this video. Remember, all the fine tuning and tinkering is going to come later. We're just getting you guys ready to go. So then Control-Shift-V. So we're just going to do that for each of these files. So then we can type in ls to make sure that worked. It did. So then now we need to go back to the node folder, so cd node, and then remember cd ... to go back, ls to cd node to go back to the node file. And then we're just going to be pressing up, and then up on the arrow keys to retype in those. So we'll make sure we get the topology, up, 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 until we see the config. And then the last one we're missing is the Genesis file. So we got all those good to go, and then remember that command I told you earlier, nano, that's what we're going to be using to edit these files. Sorry about that text being a little small. I made sure to correct it in this one, but I think that was important information. So the first thing that we're going to do now is we're going to go over here, and then we're going to copy this external IP, and then we're going to go back to the network settings and make sure we set that up earlier. We're going to go to firewall, and then we're going to go to default allow RDP. Make sure you have 3000, 3001, 3002. And then now that that's done with, we can go back. So now that we're in the pool, we can type in ls, see what we got. So we'll go to the node, and then we're going to do nano ff-topology.json. And then we're going to put that, it's not going to look like this for you guys. You're going to put this external IP right here, and then you're going to change this port to 3000, and then change the port to valency 1. And what you're doing here is you're only connecting it to the relay node that you have set up, and then with that port that you have set up. So then we can exit out of here, make sure you press Control X, and then yes to save, and then enter. So then we can do cd ... cd back to the relay node, and then nano to the FF Genesis again. Or not the FF Genesis, the FF topology. I apologize about that. So yours isn't going to look like this. It's going to look just like this, but without the second portion down here. So all you're going to do is keep this one up here at 3001, valency 2. You're going to come down here, add a comma, and then you're going to press enter. And the enter is going to take you right here, and then you're going to press space, not tabs. Space, 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 to where it's right below this one. Opening bracket. And then you're going to press enter again, space all the way out to where it's lined up here. And then the quote, ADDR, quote, colon, space, quote, and then that external IP that we copied earlier. And then a comma, make sure you include the comma. You guys can't mess up this JSON file or it won't work. So you guys got to follow exactly like this. And then make sure you're not using tabs. So then use the quote again, enter, do the same thing, but with the port. Remember, there's no quotes around the port and there's no quotes around the valency. Make sure you do a comma after this one, but not a comma after valency. But you also have to have the comma up here. So the reason there's no comma at these ones is because it's the last one. So the comma is explaining that you're starting another argument. So there's a comma on this one, but then you press enter, come all the way out, line it up, closing bracket, no comma. And then that's all you need for setting up. Make sure you press Control X, you save it. And then now we're going to, hopefully that'll be done building. It's still not, but once it's done building, we can do a couple more things and then start our node. Okay, so now that that's done, I need to iterate on a couple things. So you're going to have to update Cabal in the future, not Cabal, but Cordano node and Cordano CLI in particular. So to do that, you're just going to go to CD downloads and then ls, and then you're going to CD into Cordano node, and then you're going to type in this command. And I'm going to ask you guys just to go ahead and type in this command again right now. It's going to add this into your local path because we just put it in Cabal earlier. So after you do that, after that's done installing, to make sure it works, you're just going to want to type in Cordano-node, and then you'll see that all pop up. And then now we're going to go to cd.cabal from our home folder. And then we're going to go to nano config, and we're going to change one of the things in there. So we're going to change that to, we're going to change the overwrite policy. Hopefully I don't skim past it. Okay, so change overwrite policy. It's going to be blank for you guys. Change this to always. So that means you guys can just run that command at any time. If sometimes this overwrite policy is a little funky, if that doesn't work, all you guys need to do is go into your .local. So that command I just told you to run right here. Every time that you change tags, so a new update's going to happen, and you're going to go in Cordano node, you're going to do git fetch all tags like we did earlier, and then git tag, and it'll show you all the tags, and then git checkout tags, and then the latest tag. So the next one's probably going to be .14. So then you're going to run that Cabal install Cordano node, then you're going to run this command right here into that local path. And then for whatever reason, you type in Cordano-node-version, and it gives you the earlier version instead of the one that you downloaded. You're going to go to cd.local, and then cd to bin, and then you're going to type in ls, and you can see them all in here. Then you can just do rm and then all of these files. So then Cardano CLI, and it'll get rid of it. So now, to make sure you guys both have them, or you guys all have both of them working, you can type in Cardano CLI as well, and voila, we got Cardano node and Cardano CLI. So now we're near the end of the video. We're ready to start up our nodes. So now that we're in pool, we're going to go ahead and start up the regular node first. We're going to cd to node, and then I typed out these commands while we were waiting, but I'm going to explain to you actually what they mean. If I can get to them. There they are. Okay. So let me get out of node real quick, because this is not made to be in node. So you're going to be in your pool folder, not your node folder, and I have these commands set up. I'll probably comment them down there so you guys can just copy and paste them, but you need to know what they mean. So when you're in your pool folder, I have it so you can reference them in the different folders. There's two different things between the commands that you run. Let me get up to it. I've been doing a lot while we were waiting. Okay, so this is the node one, and you can see it because it says node right here. So this node one is going to use the port that's in your relay file. So this one's going to be port 3002, and then you need to know the arguments for this. So it's -- topology. It references a topology file. The database path. This is where it's going to store everything for your database. So it's going to be node-db. You'll see that in there after we start this, and then the socket path. So then we're going to do node-db, and then the port, which is 3002, and then the commit. And then the config is the node/ff-config. So if everything's set up right, you run this command, everything should work. But the issue is we don't have the relay going yet, so it's going to get stuck. So we're going to have to go into that relay and do that again. So we're going to have to open up another instance. I showed you guys how to do that earlier, but I have to make a big screen so I don't forget this time. And then we're going to use that other command. Hopefully this command's still on here for me. If not, I'm going to be very sad. It doesn't seem like it is. Oh, I have to connect to it. That's why. Okay, so we got SSH into it. So BigPay and then at that external IP. I probably don't still have it copied, so I'm going to have to go grab that real quick. And then I have to go to Cordano. Okay, so now that we're in here, we just need to go back to that pool folder. And then we're going to run the same command, or a different command almost, and then it's going to be for that. What's sad though is I don't have that command, so I'm going to have to shut down this node, and I'm going to have to copy that from here. Because I'm not typing out that bad boy again. I'm really not. Okay, here's the one for the relay, so we're going to go ahead and copy that in there. Control-Shift-V. And then we're going to have to start this one back up. And then we're having some issues because I didn't clear the database. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then make sure everything is working. So it was a simple mistake. I just forgot to put a / here. So if I press enter, everything should be working. There it goes. Now we got both our relay node and our regular node up and running. What's going to happen is this one's going to get information, and then information is going to start pumping through this one, regular one right here. There it goes. So if you guys have information popping up like this, going this fast, you did it. It's going to take a little bit, but you can kind of see that purple in there. That purple means good. It'll say chain length. But yeah, that's the end of my video. I'm sorry it was so long. It was a banger. I tried to fit a lot of information in here today. A lot of work and a lot of time went into this. If you guys enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate a like, a share, and a comment. If you made it this far in the video, type in local address. BigPay is the man. This really was a banger. So I'll see you guys in the next one. The next one's going to be a banger too. You guys all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Happy stake pool operating.